Okay. Well, the reason I'm doing it this way is I am very stoked. I'm very happy, exhilarated. I have had a moment of like a eureka moment. It occurred during my dreams, although I have been working literally 40 years to figure this out. And basically, what it boils down to is I've had moments of what I would consider like psychic experiences where the exhilaration, the feeling of wonder and awe and mystery of life was so fantastic during these events that that's what I wanted to recreate in my life. And yet I have had to learn pretty much from scratch how to do this by sort of studying a lot of ancient knowledge and spending a lot of time mentally learning to manipulate my consciousness. Well, luckily, this week, two things have happened that sort of put it all together and it clicked. I will go back 2 days, and I just knew at around 2 in the morning, I had an intuition and it said, now's the time. So I knew that I was going to go outside and sit on the bench and basically dream. Okay, this is not unusual for me. However, I was able to go in and dream and 4 times realize that I was dreaming while I was dreaming. And that's like lucid dreaming. And that is, first of all, that's an exhilarating feeling in itself. Because if you can lucid dream and then start controlling your dream, I can create exactly these psychic experiences. However, there's a second part that happened today that will help this along. So, what happened today is I slept pretty long. I slept till 1:30, but my last dream, I had that feeling of exhilaration. It was almost like the icing on the cake type of thing, that last piece of the puzzle that I needed. And what it boiled down to is during my dream, I was exploring what was sort of known in that I was in a gift shop in sort of like a southwestern area, and it was built in such a way that it was very airy and open, and I was laying on my back looking up, and the odd part was there was a galvanized tin roof, except it wasn't connected to the building, it was the sky. The sky had a roof on it. So that disconnect in terms of my normal thinking was what triggered that exhilarating, unknown quality and a mystery and an adventure that I wanted to figure out. So that's the key right there. That is what creates these psychic event feelings. You see, the emotion and the feeling that goes with exploring the unknown and having psychic events happen, which basically are anomalies outside the ordinary or exploring the unknown, that's what I've been trying to recreate my whole life. What it boils down to is now, in a way, not to be disrespectful, but none of anything else matters now, in the sense that once I have taught this to myself and learned this as long as I remember it, I have achieved my goal, and now I can begin exploring with my consciousness the unknown. And that's the key. That's what I want to do. So I can do that anywhere. So my lifestyle and survival and worrying about eating and working and how I'm going to live and all that will take on a secondary importance. And my primary importance will be basically doing what would be considered mental exercises. However, to me, It is a way of exploring the unknown, period. So let's go there for a second. What does that mean, exploring the unknown? Well, it simply means learning to experience the whatever reality I create or whatever perceptions I create in a way that, for me at least, I hadn't known before. And if I'm, shall I say, lucid enough, I can feel the exhilaration while it's occurring, remember that it's occurring, be conscious while it's occurring, wake up while, I don't know if I can wake up while it's occurring. I might be able to. Continuing, I had just finished. I said I'm not sure if I can wake up while it's occurring because I always figured this would be occurring in a sort of a dream state because I have to move my consciousness from our normal waking state into a dream state in order for this to occur. So it goes from normal awareness, basically slightly over, I don't know if it's to the right, I would guess. And it's not really physical. All of this is an illusion, but we have to use it right now to explain things to each other. So it would be like I would slowly move my consciousness here, start dreaming in a probable reality, and then in this probable reality I could start manipulating it if I'm lucid. If my consciousness, my conscious consciousness is aware that I'm dreaming, then I can start controlling it and create the psychic experiences much easier in my dream world than I can in my real life world. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I can create them real easy in my real world now. Also, we'll see. Because what manifests in the real world actually starts inside my head, and then with enough what's called total expectation, I just know it's going to happen, then it manifests. So theoretically, then, not to be bragging, but that's the idea of how you learn to walk on water. You just simply know you can and you believe it totally, and then you could do it. Of course, the key is that you have to have unbending intent, unbending belief. It cannot yield. It has to be a total 100%. Of course, you could walk on water, and then it would work. So anyway, we'll see how this goes. Right now, I'm going to do a lot of mental exercises, which before, as I was studying all this ancient knowledge, I sort of skipped over because I was in a hurry to learn. I wanted to get to the good part and all this stuff, not realizing that training my mind and learning to be patient and actually figuring out manipulation of my consciousness is the key. And that's what these mental exercises were meant to at least train me or give me examples of how I can manipulate my consciousness. And right now I'm thinking and referring to the 120 exercises that Seth had outlined in his Seth material, which had been channeled through Jane Roberts back in the 1970s in all of the books there. And yet they've been brought together in one group. And at one point I had all the 120 mental exercises downloaded, although I never did start going through them. I've gone through maybe a dozen, and they are helpful. I'll just give you a quick example. It's each one has a purpose. For example, and this is a coincidence. Yesterday I watched a video where the guy he finally explained that there is no time or space and that everything is created by electromagnetism, which I tend to believe. I think we are actually our self, the I that we are, our greater self, exists outside the physical reality, enters the physical reality through the birth process in this physical reality, enters the reality through the birth process, and this is all what we would call rude assumptions in order to create this entire hallucination. So everybody is sort of like playing a game and agreeing that this is what's going on. And so we are manipulating the energy, our inner self, which is actually knows what's going on, is allowing this to occur so that the ego, which I am right now speaking, can learn all of this. So I have succeeded, I'm 63 years old, and finally getting to the point where I understand reality creation and sort of my purpose, how to do it, what I'm going to do, why I want to do it. And this is for me. I'm sure it's different for everybody, but for me, I've wanted to seek out that exhilaration that occurs during psychic experiences. Plus, I would love to manifest psychic experiences, sort of, quote, on demand with other people in order to teach them this. That would be excellent. So anyway, I think this is a sea of electromagnetic energy, like a ocean, a universe, and that our non-physical entity chooses a portion of our consciousness and shoots it into the physical realm, and that's conception, or you enter at some point as the fetus is developing, and then you birth and you grow. And during that time, actually, as a child, there's many of these feelings of exhilaration and learning and curiosity, and you expect all kinds of things wonderful to happen. And then we sort of lose that as we basically are indoctrinated into a type of training that gets us to, shall we say, perform manual labor in order to earn money. I mean, this is very generalized. And then during this process, luckily, I had enough extra time to use to explore the ancient knowledge and find what it was I was looking for. And here it is, what, April 30th? It must be May 1st, I guess. Is this May Day? May Day. This has always been a neat day. My dad always would give flowers to my mom on May Day. It's like when I was a kid, we would, it was neat. We'd grab wallpaper samples and make little baskets, a cone and then a handle, and fill them with flowers and go hang them on our neighbors' doors, and it would be done anonymously, and that's what we did for May Day. And so basically we went around giving everybody flowers, as many people as we could. I had two sisters, each, like Cindy was 3 years older than me, and then Barb is 6 years older than me, and that's what we would do, and we really liked it. And I still think it's a good thing to do. And it's things like that. Any of the whatever we make up in this physical reality that can create a good feeling is a good thing. That's what it boils down to. And as kids, the lucky part is we aren't really working, we're playing. Okay. So now I'm back almost nearing retirement age, somewhere in the next 10, 15 years, because I'm going to be doing this now pretty much the rest of my life, and hopefully teaching it. So even though I sort of spoke rapidly and it may be difficult to understand exactly the point I'm making, I wanted to record it because I knew if I listened to this again, then I would know what it is I'm talking about, and I could elucidate it further, and use this as a teaching tool for myself and for other people, period. Okay, let's go to some of the psychic experiences. They're absolutely outrageous. The most prominent one was I was with a friend, and we were driving home in an ice storm. I was driving. I was going to explain the blue light experience. I have that recorded and have talked about that in various ways. But that particular experience helped me down this road of knowing that there was some consciousness greater than myself that could interact with me, that was either non-physical or far enough away that I did not perceive it other than through flashes of light. And 3 times Murray, Dowell, and I, being in the car, were communicating with some entity, and when a certain statement was said, we would become blue light. And the first time it happened, we cowered down into the fetal position and were very scared. By this time, we had parked the car, which was very strange because right before that, we allowed the car to drive itself very slowly on these icy roads, and it would make turns, and then it even turned and went up big half moon, half circle drive, but it was probably a 30-degree angle, and then it stopped right in this front door of this house. And so by then we were sort of prepped, shall you say,